Live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Rufino, and this is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. I'm going to tell y'all something right off the bat. Ray Lewis, every time he gives a motivational speech, gives me the chills. Something key that he said in that speech. David found a way to fight his fight. The scoreboard doesn't matter what happens in that game. You always fight. LSU, players, fans, coaches who don't give a shit anymore. It does not matter what that scoreboard says. Saturday night, you go out there and fight. We're going to edit this because I'm seeing too much, way too much. Oh my God, the season's over. We can't do anything. Bull. Let's go, man. Let's go. You're an LSU fan. Don't be a fair weather fan. Be a fan for life. Let's get at it. All right. Off we go. Welcome aboard. Right off the gate. Dylan Landry on Facebook Live says, let's go, in his normal first comment spot. Jared Smith says, what's up, Tiger Nation? Ryan Mayer says my name for some reason. I don't know. Yes, that's me. I said I had the chills from some Ray Lewis. Some Ray Lewis. You ain't going to beat Ray Lewis. You ain't going to do it. All right, everybody, give me your score predictions for Saturday, and we will put them up here. Zac Person, the great Zac Person, is going to be joining the show. He just had a little baby. Him and his wife are doing fantastic. He's finally back on his Thursday slot. So excited to have Zac. He'll be joining us in about 10 minutes. And also the Rudy Poo of the day, the ACC made some news. Brett Ciancia from Pick Six Previews saying something that's absolutely Rudy Poo. We're going to talk about that. Heck yeah. But either way, I want all of you to know, after what you're about to do and hitting the like and hitting the share and sharing into some groups, it is not about the scoreboard. Go out there and fight. Too many fans are getting upset and, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Let's go, man. If you have that energy and you bring that energy, those kids will bring that energy. You don't back down to nobody. Well, Bama's so good. So what? Tired of seeing it from LSU fans backing down, and especially from the media. Stop backing down. All day. Oh my God, oh my God. Can't take it anymore, y'all. I can't take it anymore. My blood pressure is through the roof because they just want to lay down. All right, let's get to some of these comments. But before we get to that, before we get to the comments, guys, you got to go see my good friends over at GM Varnado & Sons. GM Varnado & Sons has faithfully been serving that Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis with all of their trained technicians. They can do anything you see here. The routine maintenance, tire repair, tire replacements, any automotive repair need. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. And tell them Blake Rufino sent you on by. Also, if that car, look, if GM can't fix it, you got to go see my man Woody Clark over at Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln. 11455 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. All you got to do is a hashtag Ask for Woody. 225-603-5432. That's 225-603-5432. And go see all of their beautiful inventory over at RobinsonBrothersFord.com. That's RobinsonBrothersFord.com. Okay, let's get to a couple of these comments. I'm seeing some scores. John Adam says 49-13, the bad guys. Michael Ray says, yo, what's good? Go Tigers. I'm with you. Aaron Adams Jr. says, Bama 37-13. Listen, Aaron, if that happens, I'm a little okay with that. You hold Bama to under 40 points and your offense is a little anemic, defensively, I might take that a little bit. Just throwing that out there. Okay, I saw a couple. Dylan Landry said 36-33, the Tigers. Man, listen. If LSU knocks off the beast and knocks him off 2 years in a row, I'm not going to say I'm doing it because you'll keep me to it. But if they do it in the postgame show Saturday, I might do the whole show with my shirt off. I might get my chest hair braided. Hell, I'll get my beard braided. You know what? I'll shave just the mustache and leave everything and have a bearded chest hair. Aaron Webb, what's up, man? He says, really curious on what changes will be made this offseason, coaches, players coming, leaving, etc. Well, Aaron, I think that you will see it on some offense, on the offensive side, no doubt. I wouldn't be surprised if Steve Ensminger hung? Whatever it is, hung it up. And I think Scott Linehan's going to be going too. On the defensive side, I would think maybe you'll have some shakeups. It'll just depend on what position. I would expect, I'm hearing a little rumbles, but I would just say I would expect that maybe Corey Raymond will get the entire defensive back room back. Maybe, quite possibly. Neil Farrell Sr., what's going on, sir? Hope you're having a good night. He says, go Tigers. Hell yeah. Let's go, man. Go Tigers. Dylan Landry says, give me all the heart you have. Listen, you just don't back down from anybody. Look, LSU in this game has to go out and establish either. Look, you have nothing to lose. Guys and ladies, LSU's got nothing to lose. What you going to lose in recruiting? Mason Smith made a comment today, the 5-star number one defensive player in the nation, that some are putting him above Corey Foreman because Corey Foreman hadn't played in over a year. Mason says, look, I know that they've had a lot of people that have left. What you want them to do about it? Hell, when you have 31 starters that leave too, yeah, you're probably going to lose. And well, Blake, there's only 22 people that play. I get that. But there are a lot of guys that made starts. 31 people. Maybe I shouldn't have said starters. But 31, what do you have to lose? Look, if you're LSU, you fix up some of the things that you do offensively when it comes. Look, your two worst games, your two easily worst games in Auburn and Texas A&M last week, in my opinion, you couldn't block. You give TJ Finley, who's going to be the starter this upcoming Saturday, then what? Let him rip. Y'all let it rip. Nothing to be ashamed about. Let it rip. Establish the line of scrimmage. Punch them in the mouth. You want a motivational speech? You want me to go all Ray Lewis on your ass? It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter what the fan thinks. It doesn't matter what your mommy and daddy think. It doesn't matter what Coach O thinks or Steve Ensminger or Bo Pelini thinks. At some point, like Ray Lewis said, it's a one-on-one matchup, and you're one-on-one against a man. Nobody's there to save you anymore. Nobody's going to be there. And I am sick, and like I've mentioned, I am sick and tired of seeing LSU fans fall to their faces and crying because, well, look at the rest of the season. Stop. Does the season suck? Yep. Does the season absolutely suck? Absolutely. Hate it. But let's go, man. Well, Blake's got nothing but he's just fired up. He's ready to go. Hell yeah, I'm fired up. Because you know what? Over the last decade, over the last 14 years, Nick Saban has been a terror on your ass. He's been the Darth Vader of the last 14 years for LSU. I don't want any success from him. I'm going to have to cash a bet and put an Alabama sign right here because I said LSU was going to wax that ass. You think I want to do that? Jeff in the Borough. We'll call back after the guest. You think I want to do that? Hell no. Vic says, I think Lee and Foreman are out. Hope Coach O can fill those spots, ready to play some guys. And yeah, you're processing some guys. You're processing some guys and girls. Not really. I'm just joking. See what I did there? But yeah, I mean, look, it looks like Tristan Lee and Corey Foreman are out. Look, hopefully you get Savion Byrd, and I know that they're high on a couple of JUCO offensive linemen. And listen, the last JUCO offensive lineman you got is starting in Seattle right now. His name is Damian Lewis. Jeff in the Borough, I know you're listening. Call after the guest. We can't talk about, this is an LSU show. Unless you're going to call talking about LSU, we're not going to talk about Kentucky to begin the show. We're not going to do it. Aaron Webb says, yes, I hope Corey Raymond gets the DBs back. And who would you look for an OC passing game coordinator? I don't know that yet, Aaron. I always kind of let these things shake out at the end of the season because you don't know who's going to get a head coaching job. You don't know what's going to really shake out. Usually you start to look at that a little bit after the fact that you have some of these head coaching vacancies, and it's such a weird year. But there's a lot out there. Look, you do have Russ Callaway that's still there. You have a lot of great minds. Hell, go get somebody from the Saints. I mean, last time you went and got somebody from the Saints, look what happened. And look what happened when he's in Carolina. So, I mean, you got a lot of young minds that can come in and be a new OC. John Adams says, I'd wax my whole damn body if LSU won 36-33. Yeah, I would too. I'll go get a Brazilian bikini wax. You know what? And outside of it being filmed in the naughty areas, I'll film that sucker. I'll go complete 40-year-old virgin and get these chest hairs waxed if LSU beats Alabama 36-33. Y'all think I'm joking? And we're going to film it. Hell, Zac Pearson's going to join us in about a minute. I'll get him to come film it. Hell, I'll bring the wax and go to his house and we'll film me getting my chest waxed. How do I get here, man? How do we always get here where I'm physically making harm to myself? All right, let's get a couple more Kentucky. I saw that comment. But let's get a couple more comments and we will get on to our good friend, Mr. Zac Person. Alan Long, what's up, Alan? Hey, and I appreciate your comment today, sir. I really do appreciate that. I really, really do. Alan, was telling some people about Are You Serious Sports. I appreciate that, my man. He said, did Corey Foreman cancel his visit this weekend? That's what I'm hearing. I know that a couple people are saying that he's still coming, but, I mean, you look at USC, who's all over this. They're saying that he has canceled his trip to Baton Rouge. Dakota Hopper says, do you think we still get Rayshawn Davis? No idea. Those California guys are getting a little shaky right now. They're getting a little shaky. Okay, well, let's get over to our good friend, Mr. Zac Person. He's been out for a while. But before we get to him, guys, don't forget to go see my good friend, Mr. John Patton, over at Area Home Lending. 225-663-2500. That's 225-663-2500. And tell them Blake Ruffinos sent you on by. And for the number one real estate firm in all of the North Shore, you got to go to team.kw.com. That's team.kw.com. Give them a call and meet with one of their great real estate agents today at 985-467-7355. 985-467-7355. Go see all of their great listings on Facebook or on their website at Your Home Team LA. That's at Your Home Team LA. Mr. Zac Person. First off, congratulations are in order. You are a new dad. So tell us, man, how's it been with the little man?
Before I start, so I don't have my microphone, so let me know if you need me to change my setup. But
no, you're good, man. We can hear you. You're all good.
All right, cool. Yeah, so to answer your question, everything has been good. He's growing like crazy. I haven't slept in a month, and we're loving it, man.
I told you the month before, get all the sleep you can get because it's coming. Look, listen, quick side note before we get into all this, man. The first night Ben was born, the first night I couldn't sleep. I kept trying to check. They swallow them up and they look like a football and you can't tell if they're breathing. I was panicking. You can't fumble them. Yeah. I know. Not fumble that one. Butterfingers, man. Jeff and Clay and Evan couldn't teach me how to catch. I still got butterfingers, dude. So, but anyway, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, look, we've had a lot of people asking for where you're at when you're coming back, and I was telling them, look, you're a new dad, and everything's going on. But look, a lot's changed. A lot's happened, Zach, over the last month. I guess in your mind, what have you seen that you're just kind of like, man, what's going on? And I guess over the last month, and LSU's had a lot of struggles. Do you think, Zach, that it's just because they have a young team, or what's your take on all of this?
I think so. Like you said, I haven't been on. I didn't come on in the month of November, and I'm just the most thankful for the fact that LSU didn't play any games in November.
Well, I didn't expect it to go there, but yes, they really didn't. They really didn't. And look, I don't know, Zach. And look, the reason I asked you, even before November, is because look, I knew that this was going to be a tough time with 2 true freshmen at quarterback. And that's why I was asking you from a player's perspective how big of a deal that is, in the sense of being a freshman and going out there like that. Zach, let me ask you this. LSU's got Alabama this week, right? Have you ever been on a team where you're probably not better than the team you're going up against, and you're like the David and they're the Goliath? Or when you were at LSU, were you always the Goliath that everybody was trying to take down?
I would say that I was very fortunate to never be on a team that felt like we were going to lose. I was never on a team that I ever thought was the worst team, and I'm sure every team feels like they're going to win. But I was lucky, in high school we were very competitive. At LSU, obviously we were competitive. At LSU, we were competitive. So I never entered a game thinking that anything was going to happen except for a victory. And I would hope that the football team feels that way. But after seeing how Nick Saban kind of said that they don't get the opportunity for many revenge games, I'm afraid they might hang 100 on us.
Zach, I said the same thing last night. Look, that panics me. Because
it's like he wants to score 100 is how it sounds.
I know. He really wants. I don't know, Zach, and we got to be careful here. And if you have a question for Zach, here's what to ask Zach. For some reason, it won't hit the mess. Oh, there they go. But if you have a question, hit us with in the comments at #AskZach. Look, he just really, you can tell that there's something different, right? He's just, look, we're going to beat their brains out. And there's a part of me too that knows Nick Saban, or we've seen Nick Saban enough. I don't know how much he would want to risk injury either, because he's got a national title right down the line. So maybe that saves LSU. But listen, I'm not so sure that this game in and of itself is not going to be a little bit closer than some experts think. I'm going to give this over to you, Zach. Young teams are very inconsistent, and we've seen this from LSU being very inconsistent. One game they put up 52, the next game they put up 11. The next game they beat Arkansas and just run it down their throats. The next game they lay an egg against Texas A&M. Do you think with motivation and this being Alabama that this team is going to be really focused going out there and wanting to really go out there and I don't want to say beat. I mean, I know they want to beat Bama, but just at least keep this game close?
I think you definitely have that in the locker room. But at the end of the day, I mean, I would love to see it happen. I mean, it would be this entire crazy season would 100% be worth it. But at the end of the day, I mean, especially with, the opt out, you just lost Terrace Marshall. I don't know who else is out, but it's not going to be it's not a sports movie, right? At the end of the day, that's kind of how those things tend to go, where these guys start to feel real good about themselves. Like you said, the David and Goliath thing, the fans start to hype it up, this and that. Those things, 99% of the time, they don't work out the way they do. It's just locker room motivation.
Have you ever seen the movie Little Giants?
Yes, of course.
Do you know that Kevin got beat when he went down Cherry Hill? They raced 100 times and he won 99, but one time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But tonight we skate with them. Yeah, you're right.
I hear you. Zac Person's our guest. I'm with you. I don't know. And there was a question here from John. He asked, golly, why is this? Oh, do you think the defense actually improved for the A&M game, or is it fool's gold? I think that they have improved. Look, if you look over they lead the SEC in the last 5 games on third down conversion. They lead the SEC in pressures, not sacks, but pressures and hurries. And we see when a team is actually starting to sack a quarterback, what that can do. I think that they have. Zach, what is the biggest thing that you've seen from this team over the last month that you're just like, I mean, and if you've been ever to really look at them and watch them, I'm sure you have, but is there one thing that you've seen that you're just like, man, that's number one on the list you got to clean up?
To clean up, I mean, we're not able to move the ball. I think defensively, like you said, I think we've been good. We really have. It's just that when when you look back at, like, let's say it's halftime, you look back at the last two quarters, you're like, man, we never really were threatening them at any real moment. You know, like you never, you even feel like the drives where the ball was moving, it's like, man, you never felt like you were actually on attack. And it's crazy because if you look at how we felt this time last year, it was the exact opposite, where it's like, I don't know if we've ever not attacked someone. Like, I don't know if we've ever been stopped. It's how you felt last year. And now it's like, man, if we get 20 yards on a play, it's like, well, we got lucky there. Let's see if we can keep that going, you know?
Right.
And like you said, it's probably the freshman quarterback thing. That's probably a lot to do with it. But I just think something else is going on, whether it's in the trenches or what, but we don't feel like, or at least I don't feel like we're ever really attacking.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And you know, Zach, and look, I was well documented on this all last season. In reference to the Auburn game, look, you can ask anybody who follows us or listens. I was panicking the entire time. The entire week, I'm like, look, you better not slip. And that game was never out of never out of LSU's hands. But 23-20 is at the end of the day 20, right?
But Auburn had something that no one else had in that defensive line. The only reason Auburn was able to do that was because their 3-man front was as good as anybody else's 4. So that's the only way. But you're right. You're 100% right on that. It was a much closer game than I was comfortable watching.
Yeah, and look, Joe Burrow was getting hit out of bounds. They were flying after him. And look, I'll fight behind Joe Burrow. Let's not get this twisted. I'll fight behind me some Joe Burrow. I mean, and congratulations, Joe, on your successful surgery. Zach, you know what's interesting to me too is when you see these teams, when the dynasty. Look, let's call LSU baseball what it is. It's a dynasty. You know, for baseball standards, it's a dynasty. Get better, Skip. Dude, I say that about Joe, Skip Bartman needs to get better. I mean, come on, man. What's going on here? But do you always tell us this? Because I feel like you guys, especially in the SEC, were always the hunted, right? You were never the hunter. I mean, maybe you were at some points, but it felt like LSU has always been the hunted.
Yeah.
Take us through an off season like that, man. Like, just is the energy different? And I tagged you in something on Twitter a couple of days ago, and you were like, "No, I never worked out like that." But take us through that. Is it something different that, like, when that shifts, that you got to go out there and make something happen, and you got to have good leadership up top?
I think that's exactly what it is. I think you nailed it there. Going into 2015, I remember kind of feeling like, so we had, in the 14 season, we had these stretches where we were really good, and then we had these stretches where we were really bad. And going into 15, it was kind of a team approach of like, man, we're not having bad stretches. Like, you could kind of feel it in the fall. Nobody was having bad days. It was the weirdest thing. And so then we go into the season, we're all hyped up, and we ended up holding on to that very long because our off-season training, our preseason training and everything was spot on. And it was exactly that. We knew we had the target on our backs. We had a bunch of guys who kind of liked that. And I think that has a lot to do with it too. A lot of guys say they like having a target on their back, but they don't really. We caught a lot of, like, we would catch a lot of strays on social network, just like random stuff we would see where just like other programs would be like kind of shitting on us, and it was just like the weirdest thing, but we loved it. A lot of guys don't like that. And I saw that was a main complaint from fans at the beginning of this football season about, like, players who would lose a game and then would be on Twitter talking about, like, you either with us or you're not, and it's like, well, at the end of the day, you're going to catch some strays. That's just kind of how it goes. And I just think some teams are better equipped in the locker room to handle that than others.
And Zach, I want to give you a round of applause. If the people that are listening to us on the podcast, tomorrow wouldn't be freaked out by us clapping, I'd literally would stand up and give you a round of applause because it's so right. Like, right. That's so right. Because listen, it's been my niche over the last 5 weeks or so. Stop being like that. Stop being so sensitive. Like, hey, listen to Ray Lewis. They were 1-6 and then made the playoffs. And so he said it's a man-on-man thing. And I think that look, the thing that does bother me is that that players hear it. And look, Ed Orgeron can say block out the noise. There's no such thing as blocking out the noise, right? Like
not anymore. Yeah, I mean, not anymore because the noise gets sent straight to your palm immediately. So it's different now. I have a funny story about so a buddy of mine. I'm not gonna say his name, but a buddy of mine. He didn't have Twitter, and it was like I think the 2014 season. And he so he downloads a Twitter account because we all had it, and he goes and like he follows us all. Like first people that he follows was like the team, and then the next morning or the next day we see him in the locker room. We're like, hey man, you finally made the leap, huh? He said, yeah, I deleted it already. And we were like, wait, why? He said, well, the first thing I did was search my name. He said, I just saw everybody just trash talking me. So I deleted the app.
Man, listen, that's like the best probably, at least to me, because it's so genuine, but yet so funny. Eli Manning on Twitter is freaking hilarious. Like, I remember somebody was doing a workout. I think it was DK Metcalf, and he was all shredded because DK did the interview with his brother Cooper, and he's got his shirt off, and he was like pumping his chest like he's Terry Crews. And then Eli Manning quote tweets it, and he goes, "Oh, you don't want any of this smoke." And I'm just like that kind of stuff, like he never had a Twitter a day in his life. And he kind of talks about that a little. He goes, "Listen, I lived in New York. Like I couldn't have Twitter."
Oh, yeah. No, you can't. No way.
You know what's funny? You talked about a story, and I'll give you one too. There's a current LSU punter who we played in high school baseball. I'm pretty sure you can put the 2 and 2 together, but I'm not going to name drop.
Yeah. And do you think he's gonna win the Ray Guy?
He's got a good chance. Listen, he might.
I mean, who's better? And who's getting more opportunities?
Well, I don't know that. And listen, I don't think. Look, to me, the yards isn't a big deal. To me, the airtime's not a big deal to me. When you start putting the ball inside the 15 that consistently, that is that's NFL level.
Yeah. He's good. Now, he's like really good.
When he went flying last week and he fell on that thing, and he's like a 30-year-old. I'm 30. We're the same exact age. I can't do that. So listen, Zach Van Rosenberg on that. But like even him, Zachary players and Franklinton players were going back on MySpace, back and forth with one another, putting stuff on people. Oh, your mama sucks. Oh, well, yeah, you should know because your mama was here last night. Like even on the wall, and my MySpace song was T-Pain, I'm in love with a stripper. Like
Great choice, dude. MySpace was awesome. You had a song, you had a whole aesthetic. You had the whole aesthetic. Everybody could see who your best friends were. It was just right out the gate. I know everything about you immediately. It was way better. Way better.
I love the song because you could do it to a mood. Every Thursday night during the football season, I would change it to "Nuck If You Buck." Okay, that was my Thursday song.
Great.
I would change my top 10 friends outside of Evan and Clay. This is no joke. Out of Evan and Clay, I would change the top 8 to who had the best practices that week. I was being petty. That was so my best friend. I had to put both Taylor brothers in there because they were always the best. So I had to put them in the top 2, not because I had to, because they were the best. But that's how I did it. It was so great. You can't do that now. And you can't do that in today's society, too. People would freak out. Oh, Zach. Think if I did that to my guest list. Everybody that comes on AYS. Hey, Zac Person, and then everybody else. That wouldn't go right,
No, and then the moment you took me off because I was missing a month, everybody'd be like, "Man, did they fight or what? Like, what's going on? Are they mad at each other?"
I know. No, we're not mad. We're not mad at all. Zach, baseball season's around the corner. Basketball season's here. Not sure if you've been able to see a lot of this basketball team because it's been 3 just kind of crazy games on ESPN, the Ocho, pretty much.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of this basketball team this season?
So I was able to watch a little bit of Southeastern, but not a lot. I wasn't able to watch the second game, which is the only one that I wanted to watch out of the 3. But I was able to watch the first one and the third one.
Cam Thomas, the true freshman guard. What you think about him in the limited time you've seen him?
Monster. I mean, I'm so glad that we have him. I like him. I mean, how do you average that many points a game in 3 games? Your first 3 games ever? You're just ready for the league. Mm-hmm. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what that guy looks like in 2 months.
I know. I'm right there with you. And I think outside of Pete Maravich, I think he's right now in the first 2 games, I think he's number 2. Like, let that sink in.
Wofford has looked great too. Like, I love that we have both those guys. I really do.
I think Wofford's done a lot better defensively in the second and third game. But, Zach, I was watching that first game, and the SIUE hit like 66 threes. And I'm like, man, how do you go that long with all the Rona not learning how to just cover a three? 6'8", 6'12".
He was distant.
He was, man. He was. Listen, something's been kind of coming up a little bit about this baseball team that Palmineri's been kind of, I don't want to say hinting, right? Like, he's not really hinting strongly, but he's given a hint that this might be one of the better baseball teams that he's had. He talked about the comparisons a little bit to 2009 with a strong freshman class and some upperclassmen that have come back. He's talked about good hitting, good pitching. What do you look? And I'm not going to say, because a lot of people have not seen this team yet, but when Palmineri starts making those statements, how much weight does that hold? Because you don't really hear him say stuff like that, at least not to the media.
Yeah, well, it definitely holds a lot because he's kind of in a position now where if you're LSU baseball, you essentially recruit yourself, right? They do a great job of recruiting, but you're going to get good players. So every year you're going to have a good team. So you can come out every single year and be like, we're going to be one of the best teams in the country. And you're not wrong. You'll never be wrong. He can say it every single year. So I feel like he tries to pick and choose when he actually says different things. And I think he does that on purpose because he understands that whole dynamic of like, I can say we're going to be really good. That's fine. But I could also tell the truth and say like, no, we're going to be really good, right? If your safety net is still going to be top 25 every year, then you can come out and be like, no, we're going to legit compete this year. And I think that's what he does. And I think he does it right. And I really think we have the weapons this year. Like, I think LSU baseball is going to have severe arms. And I cannot wait to see what a pitching staff looks like in purple and gold.
Listen, if he's anywhere close to the stratosphere of what I feel from him with Jaden Hill, he says he's flirting with him starting again. Okay, if that's the case, I just want to see how long Jaden can go. Like, can he get more than 5 innings out of him? Because we've only seen him in the games that we've had that he's only able to go for about 5 innings, which has been his max. But that's still the nastiest man alive. And look, Vandy is the best team in your division, in the conference. They're the best team in the conference. The pitch, Al Leader's son. I think it's also Zach Leader and Kumar Rocker. They're just absolutely fantastic.
That guy's fun to watch. I like that dude. He's fun to watch. I won't give him credit, but he's fun to watch.
Dude, my favorite was in the World Series in Omaha. Him and the batter, I don't know if you remember, kind of were drawing back, and you could read Rocker's lips, and he's like, "Here comes a curveball," and I'm like,
"Good luck."
Hey, good luck. He throws him a curveball, strikes him out, and he didn't say anything. He just looks at him with that death stare, and I'm like, "Dog, that's Alex Rodriguez, Roger Clemens type stuff, man."
Yeah, still got to hit it, man. You can know it's coming, still got to hit it.
I know that's absolutely unreal. Zach, we talked about social media earlier, and there was a question I was going to ask you, and I forgot about. You talk about having stuff in the palm of your hands. LSU football is struggling. Okay, when maybe you guys were struggling, did you ever see what your head coach said? Did you ever purposely go and see what he said post game, or did the team kind of stay away from that? Because you can see that there's some tension there when Ed Orgeron speaks versus when players say on social media. Did you guys ever just go see what Palmineri would say after a game?
We never would. But I always kind of felt like always felt like Coach was very honest with us. Like I really think like when he was going into a post-game interview, I always kind of felt like I knew what he was about to say because he just told us to. Like he wasn't. I never felt like he would have said anything in the media that I didn't know was coming. If I played like ass one night, if he went out in the media and said it, I knew it was coming because he may have told me already. But he never did that to me. But I'm saying like, even if like I deserved to get lashed one time, it wouldn't have surprised me if he did it because I just knew like, well, that is what happened today in the game. I never felt like there was a disconnect there. Now, with this football team, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if there's like rifts between certain coaches and the rest of the team, or certain coaches and some of the team and not other team. I don't know where the rifts are. I can say that when I was at LSU, our team did not have that. So like there was no weird disconnect where some guys were pulling in one direction and some guys weren't. So that's not, I can't really speak on that for their locker room because I literally don't know what that would feel like.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And listen, I know that you're close with Alex Lang, okay? And I don't want you to speak for him, okay? Listen, I don't want you to speak for him.
Right.
But the man was a true freshman and went undefeated. Okay, he literally could not go do anything better than what he did his first season at LSU.
Yeah.
Do you think that builds? Like, has he ever? And I don't want you to spill any secrets, and you don't have to. But maybe even an observation. Does that build? Look, LSU's coming off the best season ever. You're coming from an individual player that never lost. Okay, and then he's coming in and it's 2-1, and you're down by 1 in the bottom of the 8th. And you got to make something happen. Did you ever sense something like that? And could you see that pressure just being too much for these young kids?
So what you tend to see is that guys who end up in that position, guys who end up in the streaks like that, they're also not really the guys who mentally buy into that kind of streak. So like I can speak for a guy like Lang. He was never the kind of guy who even cared about that streak. That's just not what he did. He was day in, day out kind of guy. And what's ironic is that those are your guys who have the streaks, but it's because that's the mentality that causes the streaks. So it never really builds up in that manner because the guys who find themselves in that position, they never thought about it anyway.
Right. You know what the kind of guy I am? Just not even – and it's not even on purpose. I would have been the guy to be like, hey, Alex, don't blow it tonight, dog. You got that streak. I'm stupid, I'd be like, just trying to make conversation with him and be like, hey, dog, don't blow it.
My pitching coach in high school, he was a younger guy. He was fresh out of JUCO, and then he went back to where we were from. And wanted to help out there. He was an incredible pitching coach. He was kind of silly like that. He was super funny. Like he would kind of keep everything light. And he would do that to me every single start. After each inning, if I hadn't allowed a hit yet, he would come and tell me. So it might be 3rd inning, 4th inning, 5th inning. Didn't matter how long. He'd be like, hey, man, no hits yet. Keep that going. And I'd be like, what the fuck? I used to get so mad.
Dude, listen, Clay had a no-hitter going, and he would have the death stare. Like, he would legitimately get a ball and throw it at your face if you said something. So I never would say anything. I would just kind of get him that whole – but you don't have to say anything. Like, Zach, let me ask you, have you ever thrown a no-hitter? And I'm being – like, have you ever thrown a no-hitter in your career?
Yeah. In high school. Not in college. But
Okay, gotcha. But either way, do you know – like, I've never pitched a day in my life. I threw 1 inning. I came in relief for Clay. We were beating a team like 21-2. Okay. And I came in and threw 2 fastballs. 1 got hit. It's still going right now, but it was foul. And another one rounded it out to. So that's my claim of fame. I got a save and with 1 out. But do you know that you have that no hitter?
I think you do, because I don't know if you think about it in that sense of like no one's allowed to hit, but I think that like when you're between innings, you kind of think back on like, all right, who's coming up? What did I do the last couple at bats against them? So then in that way, you understand like, okay, well, these 3 guys haven't gotten a hit. So like if you think about it in that sense, you do. When I was at LSUE, we played in a regional game, and I went 8 2/3, and then allowed a base hit and I got pulled. And for the rest of the week, everybody on the roster called me 26 because I only got 26 outs. Yeah. It's like, man, baseball locker rooms are just they're undefeated, dude. Baseball locker rooms will never lose.
I know, man. The trolling is so great. I can't believe Willis pulled you though, Rudy Poo. Hey,
well, okay. To be fair though, in that game, so I was hurt. I think I was hurt. I don't know. My velo was extremely down. Like I'm talking about like 79 to 82. So like I was throwing legitimate fastballs that weren't cracking 80. So. But it was effective because it was so slow. But by the time I allowed that hit in the ninth, he was like, all right, I've seen enough.
Well, and you know what's crazy? You still throw it harder than 95% of America. 97.
Not in college.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about when you talk about America, you're still the upper echelon. That's what people, he's only throwing 92 miles an hour. Like, dog, that's 90.
Have you ever seen it? You can hear 92.
Right.
Like it's not the same.
Two more questions. We'll get you out of here, Zach. Zach Pearson's our guest. Number one, did you see that the ACC shifted around their schedule today football-wise to give Notre Dame, undefeated Notre Dame, number 2 in the country, and number 3, Clemson, easier schedules to go to the conference? It's my Rudy Poo of the day. I want to get your take on that. What do you think that a conference would do that and switch its games at not mid-season, not the beginning of the season, but during the season to give
very end?
Right.
Do they have a championship game? Like, do they play each other?
Yeah. So Clemson and Notre Dame would rematch after the first game. I think it was like the Saturday you had your little boy. So I'm not sure if you saw that, like it was like the same weekend. It was a lot.
Okay.
Look, Notre Dame handled them pretty easily, but they changed the schedule. And the SEC has been getting a lot of criticism because people in the SEC are saying, like, dog, how can you change the schedule at the end of the year to give these teams better games, easier games? I hope one of them get beat.
Yeah, wouldn't that just be the sweetest thing ever, though? Like, just the ultimate, the gods don't lie kind of thing.
Brandy Blake asked you a question. She says, Zach, is that a NASA jacket, and where do I get one?
It is a NASA jacket. I mean, you could Google it. I really don't know where I got it, but it's just a windbreaker, and it's honestly probably too cold outside for me to be wearing just a windbreaker, but oh well, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Well, listen, I've been doing this, and I used to make fun of Jeff for wearing the coaches cut off, like the short sleeve pullover coaches, like a fourth zip.
Yeah.
Dog, that's all I've been wearing.
They are comfortable though. They
are, man.
They really are.
Now that we're married, it's like more about comfort. It's not about, do I want to be a little stylish? Yes. Like, do I have an AYS logo on it? Yeah, sure, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's comfortable though. I'm in my pajama pants down here. Like it's all about comfort these days, dog.
That is right. I always wonder, you ever watch ESPN and that's what you think? Like you watch a network and you're like, you think any of those dudes are wearing pants right now? Like you think any of them have matching suit pants? I think it every single time.
Listen, I used to think that, especially doing this show. Listen, I did one in boxer briefs on accident one time during Corona. Okay, like during quarantine, I was like, listen, don't put this camera down too low, dog. We got boxer briefs. So I've done it. I'm just going to be honest. It's not like my business was showing on Facebook Live or anything, but yeah, I've done it.
Well, there you go. You've heard it here first.
Yeah, for real. Zach, last question. We'll get you out of here, man. I appreciate you joining us. What do you think about the game Saturday? What do you want to see from this LSU team? Do you just want to see fight? Do you want to see, do you want an outright win? I don't know, but what do you want to see just Saturday, bro?
I mean, well, if I could pick anything, an outright win would be the coolest. It would just be the coolest thing ever. But really what I want to see is that the defense that we have on the field just continue with the effort and the progression that we've had, like you said, over the last 4 or 5 games or so, right? As long as we're doing that, then I'm okay. This season is in the trash. Like, it doesn't matter. Who cares what happens the next few games? I want to see that we're at least not just throwing away reps that are very valuable, because training camp reps do not count the same way that these December reps against Bama and Florida are going to count. That's what I want to see there. Defensive play, you got Ricks, who still has some growing to do, but he's incredible. And I want to see him get good reps in. I want Stingley to stay being great. I want to see who's the next receiver that steps up now that Terrace Marshall's gone, because these are valuable reps. I want to see Gilbert do the same thing. I want to see, if we run with both quarterbacks, the same thing. So basically that, like you said, fight's a good way to put it. I just want to see these dudes who understand that, this game in this year's scheme may not matter that much. It's probably going to be an L if we're being honest. But that doesn't mean that it's a total loss, and it doesn't mean that it's useless either.
I'm with you. And look, you mentioned Terrace Marshall. It feels like so long ago, but with him opting out very quickly, your take on that. What, are you okay with him opting out?
I am okay with it. I'm okay with it because I feel like each of these guys has to sit down in their own situation, and they have to look at, these are my family members, these are my whatever, this is my current situation, this and that. And I think for every single player, that decision is different. And I think the parameters around that decision is different. And I think that ultimately, whichever decision they choose is the correct decision, because they're not making that decision lightly. They've weighed out all the possible options, and they do what they thought was right. So do I want to watch that dude play more games? Yeah. I also wanted to watch Joe Burrow come back. That's just kind of how it goes. Of course you want him to play more, but at the end of the day, you got to be happy for the dude. He's put himself in a position where he can make that decision, and he's earned where he's going next. And in order to get to that point, he had to give us a lot of really good days. So that's kind of how I look at it. It's like, hey man, thanks. Thanks for what you already gave us, and best of luck to you.
Yeah, I'm with you, Zach. I can't be mad. I can't be happy. There's so many things that you could say, and it seems like nothing's going to satisfy anybody, right? I can say, go do you, and so it's whatever. Zach, I appreciate it, man, and we'll talk again soon, my friend.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thanks. That's Zac Person, former LSU baseball player, who joins us every Thursday. He's back in his Thursday slot, so glad to have Zach with us. Listen, I've been meaning to do a Saints Falcons breakdown. Really, guys, the same as 3 weeks ago. The same as 3 weeks ago. Just go out there, run the football, and that's it. Okay, guys, I appreciate it. We will not be on tomorrow. AYS Fight Club will be on tomorrow. Go check it out. They always have a lot of great fighters that come on the show. But as far as AYS, we will wait and see you for the postgame show after LSU versus Alabama. So come on there, give us your calls. Hopefully it's all good. Hopefully we have a lot of good things to talk about with LSU. But until then, we'll see you soon. Have a good night.